Okay, I have something that's small. It's probably good.
Okay.
Okay, so I saw this tweet. You know what? I'll read this, and then you can try and guess. It's an actor. You guys might already know this.
Okay.
There's
I like our cold opens being like guessing games.
Guessing
Yes.
It's fun.
Okay, there's an actor who has a pet crow that has taken to calling him names. He says, "It's comical, at least. It is to me. When I leave the room, he'll say, 'Bye,' and then go, 'Ass.'" So,
Crows can talk?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Crows are like...
Yeah, crows are like the smart.
Well, I know
really
crows are
smart.
incredibly smart. I didn't know they were
Um,
capable of speech, though. This guy, is it Russell Brand? He seems like the type of guy who'd own a crow. Is it Russell Crowe?
No.
Did he lean into it?
Maybe Russell Brand is maybe like kind of close-ish.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not Joe Rogan, is it? Does he have a crow?
No, but the crow's
Jared
name
Leto?
is Hogan. Hogan? Hoogan. Maybe.
This is tough.
My first guess was like Nicolas Cage. That seems like a Nicolas Cage.
Ding, ding,
thing.
ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding.
Oh,
Oh,
no
shit.
way.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought that was way too easy.
It actually is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, typical. It would have been better if it
Damn.
was a pig.
Oh, yeah.
No, like as soon as you said
Watch this pig
like,
talking to me.
I have a pet crow, I was like, what celebrity would do that? Nicolas Cage. It's not Nicolas Cage. That's too obvious.
It's a little too on the nose. And then
Yeah.
Well, and then you said Russell Brand was close, and I was like, I don't think. I mean, I guess they were in a movie together, but that's like the only tie I could think
I
of.
guess just kind of, maybe not Russell Brand now, but like Russell Brand,
It's
was he in
they're
like
both
movies? He
wacky.
was kind of like loopy,
Yeah.
wacky, kind of.
Well, I think that's his whole shtick. Still, is like his whole podcast
Yeah.
is like what if you took acid and was open your third eye?
Yeah.
I think he's still doing that.
But does he? He's
Nicola-
like sober now, right?
Yeah,
I
he's
think
gotten
so.
super like activist and environmentalist in the past few years. Like he like resurfaced this within the past year. I feel
Yeah.
like and started or was more open about being on that podcast and everything.
Yeah.
Which I mean seems like Russell Brand becoming an environmentalist just seems like the most obvious trajectory.
oh,
to-
100%.
Like
He's
what
been
else
dressing
is
the
he gonna
part
do?
for over a decade.
Yeah, pretty much.
He took
Oh.
that Katy Perry, the Katy Perry song. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag? And he was like,
What's
I
the
gotta
opposite of that?
I gotta stop this.
Yeah. I always forget that that's a fucking lyric in that. That's Firework, right?
Yeah, it's like it's the
It's like the
whenever
first
I
line,
hear
isn't it?
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think I've ever like listened to that song in full. So whenever I hear that line out of context, I think it's like a joke.
Yeah.
Probably if you've
'Cause
been
that's
in like
like-
Walmart, they probably blasted in Walmart. All the
Yeah,
time.
they play it in a lot of like department stores and shit. There is like a version on
Yeah.
YouTube though, like a YouTube poop, where someone just took it. So all she says is like, "Do you ever feel like a plastic bag, like a plastic bag, like a plastic?" And that's just the rest of the song is just different. It's like Neil Cicierega, just different ways of saying like a plastic bag.
I love that
She
shit.
did wonders for the sales of plastic bags. They skyrocketed when
yeah.
that song came out.
Like what's the humble one? The
Be humble. Sit
No,
down.
yeah,
Just
but they
sit
did
down.
that with it's
Oh,
syrup
syrup
sandwiches.
sandwiches.
It's
Syrup
Oh, yeah.
sandwiches. Yeah.
Syrup sandwiches.
Well, then it's like they try to fit the word into like a longer phrase, and it just gets like
Yeah.
broken down and like
Distorted.
distorted, like plastic bag.
yeah. Yeah.
Or the classic, the mom spaghetti.
Yeah, Mom
that's
Spaghetti's the other
that's an
one,
OG one.
Because they do. They just kind of like break up the words. He goes like spaghetti when he's kind of like spread it out over a longer thing or whatever.
Okay.
And we're
Okay.
back.
It's There Will Be Duds. I'm your co-host TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, hi, I'm Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me as always,
I'm Travis, aka the Super General, and with me as always
is me, Deeks.
Cool. And this week we watched a movie from 1984 called Paris, Texas, directed by Wim Wenders.
very good.
I wanted to hit it hard because I like saying German names. It's fun.
Down Nazi.
And
Yeah, going back to the Nazi thing again, huh, T?
right,
Back
okay.
to the Nazi well.
Yep. It tells the story of a man named Travis
Hell
who's
yeah.
an asshole.
Yep.
He sucks shit.
Actually, he's also Travis Jr. because his dad's name is Travis. So he's
Okay.
TJ.
So it's TJ.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I was like, you're not a junior. What are you talking about?
No, he's a DJ.
Yeah, I got you.
He does forget. He does have dementia.
Yeah, he does have dementia.
Oh yeah. Anyways, it follows this dude, and as he stumbles out of the Mojave Desert, Mexico desert, and wanders into Texas, and he's picked up by his brother. Find out that he's been missing for 4 years, and he lost his memory, or did he? Yada yada yada. I guess he's kind of rediscovering his life and trying to find his lost family, his son and his wife that he abandoned, sort of. That's it, kind of. You know, it's trying to reconnect with the life he had, I guess. Okay. The floor is open.
My first note was like, oh, this is 2 movies in a row about dudes in the desert with no water.
I was thinking, like, you could, like, somebody said Rango again. Like, you could, I'm sure there's a lot of, like, comparisons between the characters, kind of, Rango and Travis. Just one's a bit more
Rango Unchained.
dark.
Yeah.
I realized. Let's just talk about Rango again. I should have named my audio file Durango on Trained.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good.
Does anybody have anything to say? Because, like, I told you guys already, but I don't have that many notes about the movie, but I liked it a lot.
I was like within the first shot when they're doing like the opening credits and they have that really long wide shot of him just like walking for a while. I was just like, oh, it's gonna be one of those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like V.
I thought of V too. Like, every time I just see like 5 minutes of a dude walking, and I'm like, how did we fuck that up so bad that ours just looks so boring and dumb, and like this looks so cool.
It's
like,
because
that was
they
like
had
one of
more
my
time.
favorite, like.
And they also
Well,
shot
true,
it
yeah.
in fucking the desert where there's really cool landscape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, so many of the
yes.
shots in this movie just look like paintings. It was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like the
there's a
cinematography
lot
was
of
very good.
Actually, I thought that. I was like, is this like on a set? Because I was watching the background. I'm like, those clouds are not moving, and you can even see the shadows. Like, you know, usually you can see the shadows of the clouds on the ground moving, and they didn't look like anything was moving. I was like, is this a fucking painting? But then like the car pulls up, Dean Stockwell pulls up in the car. I'm like, no, that's real. It's just like there's no wind in Texas, I guess.
Well, there's the
Big
one
sky
scene
country.
when like after Trav
What?
like gets away. What?
This is good.
I did that every single time when we were watching the movie. Anytime they said Travis, I was like, what?
God, I hate that so much. I hate that so much.
Call him Harry Dean.
Harry Dean. Every time Harry D, when he got away like from his brother the first time, and he pulls up, the background looks. I think that background like might have been fake because I was doing the same thing. I was looking at the clouds and they looked way too stiff, and just a contrast between his brother's car in the background. Like that one might have been fake, I feel like, but there was some shots like that first shot where he's walking. There's no way that could have been a set for him to walk that far on.
Oh yeah,
That was exactly what I was thinking. Like when I was thinking it was when he pulled up and then the car pulls away. I'm like, no, that's a fucking. If that's a painting, it would have to be so fucking big. Like how far he moves the car.
Yeah.
Or they're very elaborate miniatures. I think what I liked about this was that it seemed to be multiple genres at the same time. Like it seemed like it was like a road movie, but also had like elements of like a western, but also was like a coming of age story. But it's like the guy's like 50, but he's coming of age from at 50.
Yeah.
I wrote Rain Man meets Dumb and Dumber.
I also kind of thought Rain Man for like the first like act or whatever.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to be like, I'm an excellent driver.
Yeah, I put that it's very like it has like big like European director vibes because it's like it's almost like 3 movies in one, because like you have that first like 40 minutes, it's a road movie with him and Dean Stockwell, and then the middle chunk is them living at the house in LA, and then the last hour is him traveling with his son, and Dean Stockwell and his wife are just gone out of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're just gone.
There's like one part where they like talk on the phone or something
At the Gap.
Like.
Yeah, that's like early on.
That's early on.
They leave, and then like the first night that they're gone, he has them call them, and then he's like, yeah, I'm going, and then they're like, where are you? And then Harry Dean just like hang up, and he's like, bye, I love you, and like that's it. That's the only like
closure,
where are you?
I guess I'm at a gas station. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That was a problem that I had with it, was that there wasn't too. I mean, you could like, it's somewhat ambiguous to the point where you could kind of fill in the blanks, but I felt bad because there wasn't any like resolution with them, but it would maybe like muddy it up and make it feel a little Lord of the Rings-esque, where it's just like finale, like all these like climaxes, but
Sure.
But Dean Stockwell and his wife, they were like, seemed to be like really like good people. I mean, they raised the dude's son and like as their own, and then he like flies to Texas and like chases him down and gets him home and like rehabilitates him, and then at the end they get nothing out of it. But I'm sure you could go, oh well, you know, they probably Jane probably brings him back to see Anna and visits with them and stuff, but they don't get their like knight in shining armor moment.
Because
then
you could just assume that Jane just saw him at the hotel and was like, all right, cool, and then left again. What if she just didn't stay with him? She's just like, I'm still not ready to be a mother, and just left him at the hotel by himself.
You can make macaroni and cheese, right? You can take care of yourself.
You can take care of yourself.
That's why. That's why Harry Dean was like watching. I think he made sure that. And I mean, you know, just because they hugged doesn't mean that she's gonna stay with him. But
I think the movie wants you to think that is what happens.
Yeah.
Is that
I don't like movies that make me assume. I want a movie to tell me exactly how I should feel.
She's like hugging him, and then like it cuts to outside, and you see him through the window, and then she like. You know, she holds him back, and she's like, I'm going to get so much money selling you on the black market.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to take you to work with me.
Yeah, it's kind of speaking like along that lines, though. And I wasn't sure if they were doing this on purpose to kind of be like, yeah, Harry Dean Stanton's not like a great father, but like he left that kid everywhere.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to your mom. You stay in the hotel room by yourself. Or like, you go hang out at this bank. I'm going to be like a block away. I can see you, but I'm going to be like a block away.
And also I'm going to fall asleep.
Yeah, and also I'm going to fall asleep.
The one time he falls asleep in the entire movie is like the most crucial point.
And then also like, I'm gonna go into this strip club. You hang out in this back alley while I go in there for like a half an hour.
I laughed so hard because there's a part where he's like, I think the first time he sees her in like the peep show room, and like it shows the kid exterior, and the kid's like wandering around like in this alley, and it just says pussy on the wall.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the
Yeah, I
kid's
saw
just
that
like
too.
walking around, and I'm like, what on earth is going on?
I thought there
Like,
was
this
going to
kid
be
is just
something else
wandering.
with that too, because he's like, oh, stay out here while I go look at your mom, and he then it cuts like during that whole scene while he's in there, it cuts and he's out of the car just like walking around, and I was like, oh, is this going to be a thing where like he's lost and then they're gonna be like, oh, I can't find him, and then they're bonded by like finding him and.
Oh yeah.
And also, I didn't think it was it. It seemed like I didn't know if it was one of those things where Harry Dean Stanton and the chick were like intentionally like 40 years apart, or if it was just like an actor thing, like a 30-year-old playing a high schooler type thing. But then they made it clear, like at the end, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, so they weren't gonna get back together.
Yeah, that's
Made what clear?
that. There was a huge
they
age
had
gap.
Yeah,
Like when he was like,
Oh.
you know, she
When
was
he's telling the story.
Yeah, like she
Yeah,
was
yeah,
17 and he was. He didn't say exactly how many years, but he just said she was far older. Because I was thinking the same thing because, like, I don't know, it just felt like they were trying to make him look not young, but he did look way older than I would have thought. You know what I mean?
He was
Oh, yeah.
at the actors. What he was 57, and she was 22, 23.
Oh, so that actually
Um,
that makes sense to the story.
Yeah, I saw like, because I kind of like skimmed the Wikipedia.
she's supposed to be like
and it
19
said that
when
he
they're-
was
Sorry.
maybe when they got together.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like when
Yeah.
they met.
So when they met, yeah, that would have to be at least 8 years. So I mean, maybe it's the gap is supposed to be is like a little smaller in the movie. Maybe she's like a little older. He says she's 25. I know at some point.
Yeah, or maybe when they met, she was 17.
Yeah, he
Maybe.
said 17, maybe
17.
18. I don't know. Like that was the
Yeah.
like the.
Yeah.
17,
Yeah.
18, yeah.
But at least Harry Dean Stanton was like, I guess he was very like hesitant about the role, like, and her being so much younger than him was like one of his hang-ups, because he's like, you know, I'm an old guy and I'm not like a great catch, like whatever. And,
Yeah.
you know, who's gonna believe that or whatever.
Yeah, if you read the Wikipedia, it helps a little bit fill in some of the blanks. I felt
Like what? Like what blanks? I
like
guess.
kind of like the backstory blanks, because they tell the story, but they kind of tell it, especially him. They tell it in this like third person, like kind of indirect, kind of. They skirt around some things a little bit. It feels like.
And for the first time, he wished he were far away. Lost in a deep, vast country where nobody knew him. Somewhere without language or streets. And he dreamed about this place without knowing its name. And when he woke up, he was on fire.
I guess I was okay, like, just having the information.
Yeah,
that
it's
was
okay.
Yeah.
It's
the
just
story.
that with the because this was like a play before, I think.
I think it's Sam Shepard, and he is primarily like he like is a novelist and playwright. I mean, he's an actor too, but he's usually does plays and,
What is this
and
one called?
books.
Paris, Texas. Yeah.
Paris,
It
Texas.
it just talks about like how more about the whole thing, the night where like I didn't realize that the night that he like tied her to the stove with his belt was the same night that she took off with
Oh, yeah.
with Hunter.
Yeah.
I didn't
Because he says
I
he
didn't-
went to bed, and when he woke up, the
She,
place
like,
was
said-
on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't,
Which when
I didn't
Chloe and I were
know
watching
it
that,
was
she was
just
like,
weird.
is that literal or figurative? Like, was he?
Yeah.
We weren't sure if he was like if that was something that had actually happened or
I think
if-
it was literal.
That's no.
Yeah,
it was,
well-
it was literal. But yeah, that's. I was in the same boat. I was like, wait, is that like my soul's on fire?
yeah, if it was some sort of figurative thing. But no, she set the place on fire.
Also,
Yeah,
that she apparently had like postpartum depression too, which he kind of says,
Yeah.
but it's not like very specific. He just says,
Okay.
after the child came, she changed, but it's like more explicitly that she had like there was something going on.
I do remember reading that, and yeah, that at least the postpartum depression thing was nice to read, because I was also a little like
Yeah.
what but yeah, that was
She
that
had
was
the baby
nice.
and she was real sad.
Yeah,
Well, it's like their understanding of these clinical terms, because they're kind of simple people, I guess, from wherever, from Texas. Is he from Texas? I mean, that was like a whole part
Well,
of it when he was trying to get back to this plot in Paris, Texas, which is a real place because he thinks he was conceived there.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
yeah,
So-
and he bought a piece of land there as well.
To hopefully
He bought
build
the
a
plot of
home for
Yeah,
Or something.
his wife and child, which I guess I don't know if that's like part of the ambiguous ending. Like maybe he goes back to Paris, Texas, and he builds a house. Who knows? He just kind of drives off.
I mean, I kind of think, I don't know. There's the optimist in me that wants to think like that's the case, but I kind of think he was just like, I don't deserve
Yeah.
them. I was
Oh,
a
yeah.
terrible person. I was a
Yeah,
terrible
yeah.
husband. I was a terrible father. I'm just gonna go back to the desert and be a hermit because
Yeah.
that's what I deserve.
I think it was like he like, well, he definitely blames himself for like splitting up the family, like his wife and his kid, all three of them in separate areas. So then like his mission throughout the movie is to at least reconnect his son and his wife, so then they can have a mother-son relationship.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to be in it because, yeah, like you said, he doesn't feel like he deserves to be part of that.
I think like when you take the movie as a whole, that's his drive the entire movie.
Yeah.
Because like the only reason he comes into like civilization because he's like out of water, like he's
Yeah.
thirsty, you know, and he collapses and he's like bedridden, and that's the only reason I feel like he's probably done this before. He just hasn't collapsed and ended up in a hospital and been identified.
Right.
So that's like the only way his brother finds him, and like he tries like getting away from his brother at first. So I think he just has this mindset of like, you know, I'm a piece of shit the whole time. But then it's like when he hears about, oh, Hunter is separated from his mother, that's my fault. I need to get those two together. So like watching it, I'm thinking like, oh, he wants to make his family again, but the whole time he's just like, no, I need to get them back together because that's my fault
Yeah.
for
Right.
splitting them up.
that's another thing it says in the Wikipedia is that when he's in the desert, he's in a fugue state. Like he's not like consciously
Right.
like doing anything really. He's just like wandering. Which the timeline was a little bit weird for me, like because it was 4 years ago that the whole like blow up happened. And then he's got a suit on with like basically the only thing he has on him is a phone number for his brother and a red hat and looking like Stanley Yelnats out there in the desert.
Yeah. And his Jesus sandals.
Yeah, and he's just like,
Oh yeah.
was he walking for 4 years to get to Paris, Texas? Like from wherever? Like that can't be it. When did he enter the fugue state? And like,
They didn't really
Well-
go into that, like what exactly he was
Right.
doing for the 4 years. They just say why he disappeared for 4 years, but they never answered the question of like where were you for 4 years and why don't you remember anything?
yeah, was he just like drinking for like a big portion of
Just-
that?
In a fucking
I thi-
blackout state for 4 years straight.
Yeah, 4 years. And then that's what it was. He was out of alcohol and he was going through alcohol withdrawal.
Yeah, that was
the
just
desert.
a gallon of vodka. That wasn't that wasn't water.
I think he was just like living. Yeah, I mean, like I don't know exactly how long he was in a fugue state, but I guess I just don't think that doesn't really matter to me. I think he was just kind of living in Mexico,
Yeah,
And
I would
he
imagine
just-
he's just going from place to place, getting water and food when he can, sleeping where he can. Essentially, doing like a very nomadic like lifestyle where he's just he's like a vagabond. I think how the Wikipedia describes him.
It was just
But
weird
it-
that he was wearing a pinstripe suit. Like, if you're like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean-
It was just a little. It's not like it doesn't ruin the story or really ruin anything. It's just a little bit like, wait, so what exactly was going on though?
Well, I
Like,
mean, if
there's
I
mean,
ever,
that
ambiguousness,
coulda
you
just-
can kind of figure it out or fill in the blanks. But like that for me, I was just struggling a little bit to like.
My guess
fill
was
in the
like-
blanks myself.
My guess was like the day
Well.
that he left or the day that he had the freak out, he probably just casually
Grabbed
did it.
what
Just-
clothes
he
he
just-
had.
Whatever he was wearing at the time, he just hit his breaking point and whatever happened, and he's like, okay. And then he just left from there
Okay.
wearing whatever he had
And-
and just called it. He's like, all right, I'm leaving. And then he
yeah,
walks.
when I have my mental breakdown and disappear for 4 years, I'm definitely gonna dress as nice as I can.
Yeah.
I
He
think
probably
he
wasn't
grabbed
thinking about
what-
it.
So
yeah,
then,
or maybe he just like found that recently. Like not necessarily he was wearing that for 4 years.
He just
he
found
could
it
have
on the
just
dead
found
body.
it recently and was like, "Hey, these are clothes that fit me. I'm going to put them on because I've been living in the desert." And also, I just don't think any of this really matters
No.
personally. Like it doesn't
don't-
really affect.
Well, if
at
we're
least
trying
for
to-
me, I
does.
don't think it affects.
I wasn't
I don't think
saying
you make a
enjoyment of the
conscious
movie.
decision about like what when you have a mental breakdown. I don't think you make a conscious decision about like what clothes you're wearing.
I think it's
he
personal
just.
preference.
I think he
'cause
just
I definitely
left.
I have an outfit for each type of mental breakdown I have.
Of mental breakdown.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think it's really personal preference at that point.
Oh, feeling yellow today? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that it was a critical issue or anything. I was just, I mean, you guys were saying you didn't have notes, so I'm just bringing something up to fill in time, I guess.
All right.
Okay, yeah, so it's
Well,
our fault.
kinda-
It's our fault, yeah.
But if you
exactly.
think of like
Kinda bouncing
Breaking
off of
Bad, Walter White goes into a fugue state and
I
he's
also
naked
thought of
Breaking
in the
Bad.
desert. Like that's the
also thought of
obvious
that,
choice.
too.
Like if you're just like insane and you're just like really hot, you're just
Oh,
gonna be
'cause
like,
he's just in underwear.
I'm gonna take my shit off. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm roasting.
I think that was Walter White's like mental breakdown outfit though, because he's in just tidy whities a lot in that show.
Yeah.
that's his outfit
It's
of
at
I
the
told
beginning.
you personal preference. That's his
Or-
outfit of choice.
He's
Yeah.
completely naked when that happens.
Yeah, they find him in
Oh,
the. They
yeah.
find him
He's-
in the 7-Eleven.
That's right. Yeah.
So what you're saying is we had a really missed opportunity to see Harry Dean Stanton's hog.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
walking
This wasn't
around
on
in the
AMC.
desert.
They could have shown us everything.
Yeah. I need that
Um,
full frontal Harry Dean.
Just red hat
Harry Dean
and
Stanton.
sandals.
Oh, TJ, did you watch the right version this time? Did you see the titties?
Were there titties? Are you joking? I don't remember.
No.
Yeah, there were. When he went to the
Oh yeah. When he went
Oh, there's like
for
a lady
little bit,
way
yeah.
in the distance. That you can
Yeah,
kinda see.
yeah. You know I zoomed in on that shit.
Also, there was some. I will
Enhance.
say there was some pretty good side boob from Anne at the beginning section when I think Harry Dean's like sitting outside and she's like she overhears him or something like that.
Oh,
guess I don't
oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember
Oh,
that
that
because
shot. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this is so European.
that's what I
Yeah.
said. Because Kelly was like, "That's so weird. You have somebody in your house and there's a kid and you're sleeping like topless or something with the door open." And I was like, "She's French."
She's
Yeah.
French.
Yeah.
Of course it's good. I thought there was that scene made it seem like I thought there was gonna be some type of sexual tension between.
That
Yeah.
and maybe that's our very Americanized view of that scene.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
boobs out means sex. So
For sure.
Yeah.
No,
Someone's horned up.
just the way she was like acting around him before that, it felt like that
Yeah.
was gonna be something that came up where it's like, oh, he doesn't remember the affair or whatever they had, in the
It-
past.
Oh.
and really, it could have been, but it seemed like there was like she was super friendly with him until there started to be a connection between him and Hunter,
Him and-
and then she
yeah.
kind of went
I think
cold
that
towards
was-
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like the
And her
whole,
nipples got
like,
rock hard. You could see that the next time she's
I think all
super
the-
cold.
that initial warmth and like connection is just. I mean, you got to think like this is a family member who, and these are, as we say, they're both like really. They seem like really nice, good people, and they haven't seen him for 4 years. Like
Yeah.
Dean Stockwell said, like he thought he was dead. Like that's what he had assumed. So
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
you know.
That was my second note, was that Dean Stockwell's character in that scene was a lot like the very literal doctor from Arrested Development, because the way that he told Anne that he's like, yeah, they found Travis. She's like, oh, they did? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go pick him up. He did not. He didn't make it sound clear that he was still alive, and I think Anne thought that like the way that he
I
was,
didn't even think
the
of
way
that.
that he was telling Anne, he's like, yeah, they like when you say they found him after like 4 years of disappearing in the
Right.
desert, I'm thinking
Yeah.
they found his remains or something like that. So like I don't know, that's the way that I
didn't think of
interpreted that, where he was just like, yeah, they found him, and I'm gonna go pick him up, and she seemed like distraught, like, oh my god, I can't believe he's dead or something like that. That's like the way that I read that scene.
They say they found Travis.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and
Like-
to be honest, if I found out I had a kid, I'd walk to Paris, Texas on foot and hopefully die in the desert.
What did you guys think about like Hunter's acting? Because I didn't think it was great. I thought his line readings were fine, but he was terrible at cues. Like really terrible at cues. Like whenever he started a line, he'd be like, "Oh, like I'm starting my line now." But then like his
Oh.
line delivery was fine. you
Kelly
know?
thought that his like friend from school was really bad.
Oh my god. Kalia was like, he was on screen for like 20 seconds, and Kalia, like before he even was like done, she's like, shut up. She hated that kid.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't think he was terrible. I thought the whole movie felt like really authentic, and he kind of felt like a kid would feel. Okay. Oh, that's a gross sentence.
Cut that.
Cut that. But especially in the money shot. Another gross sentence.
The
The money shot with the kid, and when the kid and the mom meet, like I thought he was incredible in that scene.
Her hair. It's wet.
You
Oh,
know what?
yeah.
That's a good point. That ending scene, I thought he was good.
He was nailed it.
I think I think most, like when I wrote that down, and most of my like the scenes that I'm thinking of are earlier on, like at the house.
Yeah.
I feel like mostly when it was just him and Harry Dean Stanton, he was a lot better. And I will agree that last scene he was fine. Like I didn't have any issues
Yeah.
with his.
Maybe it
with
was
his
just
acting
the
in that.
earlier stuff because I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't like super locked in at the beginning because there's stuff that happens, but I was like, I was kind of prepping for. I saw 2.5 hour runtime.
I was really. I had no idea it was that long.
I'm
I
not-
assumed it was like 90.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not really. I don't like. I'm a tight 90 type of person.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
This
So,
movie
like,
could have easily
Tight
been a tight
Rango.
90.
Or no, Rango's a little longer. too.
Rango's
It's
a
like
little
100
longer, but
minutes.
still, it's like I can make some exceptions, but I was like,
Sure.
does it really need to be this long? And the beginning part, it's cool. But it does seem like a little long. The whole movie it seems like nothing happens, but for some reason it really holds your attention. Like it's almost
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
12 Angry Men, where it's just like it's entirely like performance driven and like character driven, and it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
nothing really happens, but you're like, I want to keep watching this.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. And like performances, like I think, I don't know. I could almost say, like, I feel like if you could cut anything out, it would be in that first act, the road trip with them two. But I don't think I felt like it was long at the time. I think each act or each section serves its purpose well. But again, yeah, like if anything could be cut, maybe 5-10 minutes from that first chunk. But
Yeah.
like I just enjoy Harry Dean Stanton and Dean Stockwell so
Right,
much,
right.
and them
Yeah,
playing
their
off each
chemistry
other
is
that
very
like
good.
it didn't matter to me.
What's the matter?
Where are we going?
We're gonna fly to L.A. You're not afraid of flying, are you?
We're leaving the ground.
Yeah.
Why?
I really love Dean Stockwell. I mean, I really like Harry Dean Stanton. The whole fucking movie was awesome. I like when he was like trying to be funny, he was funny and like serious. Like the first time they're like sitting in that diner and Dean Stockwell's telling him about, he might be telling him about Hunter, I don't remember. And this is still when Harry Dean Stanton's mute. He hasn't said anything, but you just see him like crying, like welling up and crying. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And like then like the next scene or the scene right before that, he's like talking, he's like, oh, it's got to be after because he's talking. And he's like, see this picture? He's like, this is Paris. And he's like, what? He's like, because it's Paris. And he's like happy and stuff. And then he's like, I bought that. And he's like, why'd you buy it? And he's like, I don't remember.
There's nothing on it.
Empty.
Well, why in hell would you want to buy a vacant lot in Paris, Texas, for Christ's sake?
I forgot.
I guess that puts some depth in, I mean, the concept that was there of, I was just imagining, like, what your mind would be going through if you just kind of came to after 4 years and you have some of your memories, but not all of them. How he's like, my body knows how to drive, or like my body remembers how to drive. That's such a weird thing. It's like you don't know anything about being human or that you are human, but you still have these muscle memory things. And like, it's like, I know I bought this, I just don't know why, or I know how to drive.
How'd I get this
I'll
suit?
do it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know how to put it on.
Yeah.
Kelly
And,
was
like,
100% sure that they were gonna die in a car crash when he started driving. She was
like half an hour into the movie?
Yeah, she was like, they are going. Why would you get in the car with him? Because his body remembers.
Yeah, that's
his
not
brother's
really
very
it.
trusting of him. Just like,
Right.
Yeah.
sure. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Chillest dude of all
A
time.
lot of people are, all these people are very trusting.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Just leaving a kid in a
and-
car outside of a strip club in Houston.
Yeah.
The
Back alley.
Yeah.
the part that like where, because it's like an hour 40, hour 50, when he has that, it's gotta be like more like hour 40, when he has the first conversation with Jane, the phone conversation, and then that second one is like 20 minutes long. So that's why the movie is so long. It's those phone conversations. But like, fuck, I was so into those, both of those conversations.
There's
Like, dude, in that you said, sorry, I'll let you go after this, but you mentioned like the money shot of like the mother and the son. The one for me was where she's at the mirror.
Yep.
He turns the chair around and sits down, and his face is like perfectly
Oh,
aligned
yeah,
with
in
hers.
line. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
so fucking cool.
I've seen that shot before. I think I've seen it. Someone film Twitter. People have posted it. So I knew that shot was coming, but I was like, oh my god, here it comes, and like because I knew of that shot.
Yeah,
it was very effective.
I'm pretty sure I said that out loud. I was like, that is so fucking cool.
I did too.
That shot. I mean, that was the coolest shot of the movie. I think the best scene of the movie was still the
mom
being
and
being
reunited.
reunited. Yeah.
That there was like there's another shot too where it's when he has just a lamp on in that room and you can kind of see just like pretty much everything dimly besides from his neck up, and like I think it's like from her angle but it's over her shoulder, so you can see her reflection in the mirror and then see him behind the mirror but only like his arms leaning on the table with the phone. I like that shot a lot too.
Yeah.
But
like the whole thing, especially the second one, was just great.
I don't know.
Phone conversations.
I don't quite agree with you where it's like how you were saying you could cut a few minutes out here, or like there was a lot of shit for me that was too long. Like there was some stuff, shots from like the passenger seat when you're just looking out the front window, and then there's a lot of scenery shots that were cool, but it was like you could definitely cut some of this out, and the dialogue wasn't purposeful for the scene or anything. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that could have put this to a tight 90 that just really didn't need to be in there for me.
You're saying you could cut an hour out of this movie?
Oh
No
yeah.
way.
Oh yeah. You can
No
cut
way.
you can cut like 5 minutes out of each fucking like driving scene and it'd be all right.
I think
No,
that's
I
I
don't
think
agree
that's a
with
very 2022 like American view of like movies. This is
Well,
like
hell
art
yeah.
house cinema. This is European like art house cinema done in America, but like this is like their bread and butter. These very contemplative long shots. Like I feel like I think it's pretty good the way it is. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure like if you, but I feel like that's like reductive. Just like I need to chisel this thing out to be like only information on the screen to progress the plot, and everything else is filler, and I don't care about it. I don't know. I don't necessarily
exactly.
agree.
Oh,
You said like like dialogue that wasn't like necessary. I don't know. I felt like all the dialogue was very, it might not have informed
Precise.
you about the plot, but it informed you about the character. And like that first, this is the reason why like I didn't think the first chunk was like quite as slow, even though I said, yeah, sure, maybe you can cut a little bit out. Is that like that's where you're most like you're trying to understand what's going on. Like later on in the movie, you get more, it's more direct character and plot driving things. The first chunk is like it's just them driving. There's not much happening, but you're really invested because you're trying to figure out, okay, like what the fuck happened? Like what's going on with this guy? And that's why like everything all the conversation between Harry Dean Stockwell,
Harry Dean Stanton.
you know what I mean, is like really like interesting because just like any little nugget of something from Harry Dean's character, you're trying to like, ooh, what does that mean? Or like what? Trying to figure shit out.
Yeah, and it's the thing with it was almost like I wanted to be bored because I was like, I should be bored right now because like there's nothing happening. It's like, why am I not bored? And it's like it was like, okay, now they're back on screen. Like, what are they gonna say? There's gonna be some kind of little, they don't say a ton, and it's not always like super substantial, but like, it's, I don't know, it's enough to like keep you going like at a real even level. And what was funny actually was, I'm kind of talkative when I watch movies, at least when it's just me and Kelly. If there's other people, I try not to do it, but like I'm pretty talkative when watching movies, and there was so many times in this movie where I would say something and then one of the characters would say like the exact same thing like 2 seconds later. I was like, hell yeah, this movie's great.
See, no, I totally was bored when you said you feel like I should be bored. I was.
Oh man,
which is weird.
and you like you didn't get anything out of like the phone conversations, or like you kind of like shook your head when I was like talking those up.
Well, I mean, like they were definitely like the shots were cool, and like it's just, I don't know. It felt way too long. Like it was just, I understand what it's trying to do and what it is, but just the description of, because that second phone conversation, that 20 minutes is almost like all him describing like everything that happened between them, in one scene, which it's good, like it's filling you in on why they were separated or what happened, but it's just so goddamn long, and it's just so like,
but
some of the descriptive stuff that he says like is totally, I don't know, it just felt like, okay, we get it, we get where you're going with this shit. I don't know, my attention span was just, that's why I was saying like Moose would not have survived this movie, because like I feel like my attention span is like not as bad as his, but it's pretty bad, and I'm usually pretty good about sitting through movies, but this one is just like, all right, can we fucking get it going? Where's this?
I feel like, yeah, it depends on like if it can hold you. It's like this one almost seems like it's you either love it or hate it, because it's like if you're hooked
it's a coin flip. That's why it's with like all of us. Every single one of us, like I don't know. I mean, it seems like Travis enjoyed it at least more than he disliked it. But like that slowness, it either like you're for, or like it works for you or it doesn't, and that is like the critical.
And I think it kind of depends on like what mood you are in when you you start it. Because we're talking about how like, oh, the scenery was cool and it looked like a painting and stuff, and then like Moose, maybe because he's from Texas and he sees that shit all the time, he's like, this shit is boring looking. There's no wind. The clouds don't move. I don't like this shit. Like, show me something. Show me something snowy. I want to go back to Jack Frost.
Maybe that's why he has. Maybe that's why he has trouble with Faces of the Moon, because nothing moves in Texas. So he's like, the clouds don't move, the moon stays the same. He's like, I don't understand any of this shit.
Why is everything a painting?
I think for me, like going into it, and it's funny because like Chloe and I watched it together, and we both, I think we hyped the movie up in our minds a little bit too much, where I was going into it thinking that I was just like, okay, this movie is going to be like crushing and devastating or whatever. Just from, it seemed like the way that people talk about it online, I was going into it thinking this is gonna just be like the saddest movie I've ever seen, and it wasn't per se. I think it was very like melancholy and like bittersweet, but it wasn't, you know, as like,
a good word.
It wasn't as like devastating as I thought it was going to be, and I think my own fault, I was like a little bit let down by that, because I thought it was going to be like the saddest thing I've ever seen, and it wasn't. But I really enjoyed it for what it was.
This movie didn't fucking break my heart enough.
Yeah. But like going back to like the kid actor, I think the scene that hit me the hardest, that like got like the single tear falling down like my cheek, was when, like, because it happened a couple times where he's like, I want to walk home with him, and like the first time,
that was so great.
The first time, like, the kid sees him standing, you know, across the street, and he's like, can I ride with you? And the kid, and then, you know, and then finally he does walk home with him, and he's like, he's kind of messing around, like he's walking backwards, and then the kid walks backwards, but then it just like, I think, and I don't know why it hit me the way that it did, but just like the fact that like they walked all the way home on opposite sides of the street on like the sidewalk, but they still walked home together. That just like, it just, it hit me really hard.
That
was just like very bittersweet.
That might have been my favorite scene of the movie. It wasn't like as emotionally resonant as like the phone conversations or the mom meeting the son, but I think just like in the moment, I loved that scene so much, because I had the same realization that, like, you know, they started walking, messing around, and then I was like, it shows them going up the hill, and I'm like, oh, they walked home together. That was really good.
It gave me, for some reason, really heavy Life is Beautiful vibes, like at the end with the dad. Spoilers for Life is Beautiful. Yeah. Where the dad's like, look at me, I'm being goofy, but really he's being marched to his death, and it's like, I don't know why, but it kind of had that same, I don't know, maybe because I could tell that Harry Dean Stanton wasn't going to be around at the end. I was getting those vibes, like, like either die or he was going to leave, like he does. Like, I figured this was gonna, like, a fleeting thing, but
I really didn't know where the movie was going from like one point to the next, which I dug.
Sorry, we were making jokes early on at the beginning of the movie that he was Carl Havoc walking around in the desert, being like, I don't want to be around anymore.
I was gonna say, like, you know, that you can tell that he used to be a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
The home video footage also was like very, very like the kid looking at the fish bowl, the aquarium, and then like he looks at the home movie, and then like Harry Dean's kind of checking to see if the kid's watching, and the kid doesn't seem to be paying attention, and then finally like they kind of have that moment where they look at each other. I think that's when the kid is like, oh, this is my dad. Like,
that was like I did like that, how they didn't even really tell Hunter that, you know, your dad doesn't. It was almost like they didn't want to admit it themselves, where they weren't really saying he lost his memory, he doesn't remember. They were like, when his brother was like, you remember that time? It queued up watching the home video. He's like, remember that time we took that vacation and we were at the beach and whatever. Like, they just kept talking to him like, he's gonna remember. We just have to keep bringing it up. They didn't actually say he lost his memory. So in that scene where they're watching the home videos, I feel like it's kind of Hunter realizing that his dad isn't quite like, he's not quiet because he's an asshole, or he's not, you know, he doesn't want to remember. It's just he really doesn't, because his reactions to that home video, I think Hunter kind of realizes is like, oh shit, he doesn't remember any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and then he can see he clearly doesn't remember like everything about his dad, it seems, or his parents really, because he was like 4.
Right.
So he has like and they say that they've watched the home videos before, but you can kind of tell that he has like at least fond memories of his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see kind of like a big change again is where you see Travis react to, like, it's a part where he and Jane are like dancing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets like emotional, and that's where he's like, "Oh, he loves my mom too." Like,
Yeah.
he's real, and I'm sure like he's hanging on, like he doesn't want to like bond with him because he's angry at him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just that he doesn't know who he is or he feels uncomfortable with him. He's like angry at him, I'm sure. He's
Yeah.
he doesn't necessarily understand why fully, but he just knows he's angry.
And I think that was like just Hunter seeing his dad tear up was a pretty beautiful scene, and just really, I guess what was I gonna say? Like the fact that Hunter doesn't really know his parents, and he really only knows his memories of his parents are from watching that home video almost, because like when they watch it, he's like, oh yeah, this is my dad. I only know him or remember him through video really, because he was 4. He doesn't have many memories, and same with his mom. So it's kind of like when they're watching those videos, it's Hunter like realizing it's like this guy I knew as my dad through just videos right here with me now, and he's getting emotional. It's like it feels like it's like a mood switch or like a beat for Hunter, where he lets go of some of that hatred or like confusion against his dad.
Well, also he's like a little kid and probably doesn't really know how to process or deal with complex emotions like that. And I think that's like a tick in the positives for like the kid actor. I think maybe some of his line deliveries were like a little but I think overall I thought he was pretty decent. He was good at being like when he's in the truck bed just telling his dad facts about what he's learning in school. I felt that was like very, very little kid, just like, did you know that the earth was a rock and then the sun came and
everything was this big.
It was floating around.
The Earth was.
Yeah, the Earth was really gas, and the sun formed, and it was so hot that the Earth just formed into one hard, big ball of ocean, nothing but ocean.
Yeah.
That felt very like Richard Linklater to me. Like I was like, I wonder if he just like put them in a car and like kind of let the kid just talk.
I feel like
I wonder if that was
like, hey, tell him
or...
what you learned in school today.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was thinking the same thing. There was a few conversations where I don't think it was scripted. It was just like they let Hunter just, say something really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He was a little kid.
Dumbass kid.
Act like a dumbass piece of shit you are.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I did say I think his line delivery was fine. I think it was his cue responses.
Okay. Like
earlier on,
like he like came to life and was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, like that, like how they always teach you in like theater acting to like, act when you're not, because a lot of people's like thing is like when you're not saying your line, you're just kind of on stage like
Yeah.
And now I'm doing my line, and that's kind of what I got from him.
Yeah.
Earlier on, but
I felt like the whole time, like everything felt genuine to me. The whole movie felt genuine. The kid actor felt genuine. Just all the performances all around felt genuine, except for maybe like the German doctor at the beginning. He was like,
it was a little like kooky.
That was a little
weird,
over the top.
Yeah.
It was a little weird. It was almost like the director.
He's like trying to be the villain.
Yeah. It was like the director owed somebody a favor, and he's like, "Hey, I'll put you in this movie."
Yeah, that was super
okay.
weird.
Can I play the crazy German doctor in the middle of the desert?
Yeah.
All right, sir.
That was another thing too. Is like I'm on the same page. Like I didn't know what to expect going to this movie. I didn't read reviews or anything, and so I was like, the way that guy's acting, I was like, he's gonna be like the main villain and just be a real piece of shit this whole movie.
Oh,
Yeah, he's gonna experiment on him. I didn't know either. Kelly was like, "What's this movie about?" And I was like, "I have no idea. I know it's called Paris, Texas. I know Dean Stockwell's in it. I know Harry Dean Stanton's in it. That's all I know."
And the description on HBO was just an amnesiac walks out of the desert.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That was the entire description on HBO.
Searching
Nice,
for sloppy steaks.
I think for some reason I thought he was deaf. I don't know why I thought that he was like hard of hearing. Maybe like early descriptions just said he was mute or whatever.
Yeah.
But because I noticed because I watched it on the Criterion, and like this is like one of the only movies on Criterion that actually provides subtitles. For some reason, every other movie that I've watched, because we watch stuff with subtitles on. And I was like,
Blasphemy.
oh, maybe it is like a movie where he's like, it's hard to understand him, or it's like he's a deaf person, because like that's maybe why they offered subtitles. But then it's like, oh no, he's speaking normally. He just was in the desert for so long that he forgot how to talk to people for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Slight
Weird.
correction. It does say an amnesiac tries to find the family he lost, so it's a little bit more descriptive.
Oh, is that it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just a touch.
I
Just
like
a
the other
pinch.
one. Just walks out of the desert.
Yeah.
There was one scene with, I guess, to comment on the child acting, I was like, it wasn't anything bad, and he was a kid actor. I don't ever really like the only kid actor I think I've liked was like was it Iron
Jack
Man
Frost.
2 or Jack Frost?
Oh,
Iron Man
yeah,
2 or
that
3.
kid.
That
Yeah.
kid in that movie, like I was actually
Yeah, he was great.
yeah, but then like this one is just like a normal typical child actor where it's like, yeah, you could have done better than that, but you're fucking 8 years old, so I understand. But and there was one scene, speaking of it like feeling genuine, when Hunter was like laying in bed and he had like his action figures and he was just kind of like playing back and forth and like giving them dialogue, and I had a really like weird nostalgic flashback, because when you just play with action figures and you're just kind of like going back and forth with it, I don't know, I know the movies do that a lot, but that felt like really genuine, and that was kind of like, for some reason that was emotional, because it was just an innocent kid doing his thing, and all the shit that he's going through with his parents, he still just is chilling out playing with his toys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, still doing little kid shit.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you put on a trench coat, Travis?
Yeah. What's
Yeah,
up
you
with
chilly?
It is a little chilly, but no, I was gonna wear this in the beginning because it's a members only jacket, because that's what Dean Harry Stockwell is wearing at the beginning,
Oh,
but his is like
gotcha.
peach colored.
Gotcha.
Some pretty
I
good
do-
fits. Some
I
pretty
do
good
like
fits in
his-
this movie, I will
Yeah,
say.
Oh, yeah,
I was
for
gonna say,
sure.
There's a lot of good fits. And there was a lot of there was one scene. There's a lot of
Oh, yeah.
aesthetically pleasing. Like my favorite thing about this movie was the cinematography, and just a lot of the shots were. I loved like the
Just if they had
Oh.
cut him 5 minutes shorter. That's
yeah,
all.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was talking to
I want
somebody.
to enjoy the things less.
I don't deserve to enjoy stuff that much. I was talking to somebody
You need to
about.
You
There's
need
some-
to leave this movie in a hotel and drive away into the night.
Like I love the there's just something about movies shot, like 80s movies shot that take place in the 80s. Something about cinematography, no matter, it was fun. I was watching Ninja Turtles on Netflix the other day, and there was like scenes in there of like New York City that were like, oh, that's super cool, that looks super 80s, and it's like just aesthetically pleasing to see that. So like all the long shots of like when they're driving through town or something, and it's just from like the passenger side view, and you just see like a whole bunch of old stuff going through town. I just like, it's aesthetically, that's like where my lizard brain activates, is like those type of shots.
You're
But-
talking about like the first live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
Yeah.
Well, that was in 1990, so it's not.
Oh,
Dumb
yeah, but it was
piece
probably
of shit,
shot
you
in
idiot.
1989.
Shut up.
TJ,
Uh-huh.
I need you to shut the fuck up for just a second.
Well, I think part of that is also just like this bygone era of filmmaking when here's my anti-streaming service moment, where like they actually shot stuff on location and used real places, where
Yeah.
everything else now I feel like is just like, yeah, we're gonna get some drone footage of like a cityscape so you kind of know where you're at, and then everything else is gonna be on a stage.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna be miniatures, not even miniatures anymore. It's just gonna be like everything is just green screen behind you. So it's like this movie felt like it was in a real place.
Right, because like the
Seems
shots,
super low budget.
that one shot like where they're again driving, and the clouds are super thick, but they cut off at a certain point, and it's like a perfect line. That was a beautiful shot. And there was my favorite shot, I think, was when what's the actor's name? Travis's brother, their
Dean
brother.
Stockwell.
Dean Stockwell. Like when he was at a gas station, I think, and he was under like a bluish yellowish light, like the old school gas station lights, and in the background was like this very bright orange, pink, red sunset, and just the contrast between those two, and it's just like a single shot of him not really doing anything, but it just looks really fucking cool. I thought that was like my favorite shot, but it was like nothing. It was just good timing because the sun was setting. It looked beautiful. Good lights under the gas station. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. There's something going on with colors in this movie.
I
don't know what.
That's why I brought up
but
the
red and
the
green.
fits.
Something about red and green between like Harry Dean and
So maybe Moose would like it.
Yeah.
That's why I brought up the sceneries, because like I feel like the outfits kind of contrasted the same way that the scenery did.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of symbolism that's there, but
there's
I don't
that
know.
and some of the shot composition, like the face within the face kind of thing. That his
that
face framed by her hair,
self-reflection,
right?
Obviously,
maybe
like,
him empathizing with her. I mean, this is kind of that English teacher analyzing stuff, but I feel like this is like when it's supposed to be like explicit, like there was something explicitly supposed to be conveyed with like that shot, for example. Like I think it's okay to analyze that. It's okay to overanalyze it like an English teacher if you want to. I'm just saying, for me, I don't.
I really like
you think maybe there's more substance to this than like some of the stuff in Barking Dogs, I think, was the other one that we were doing
intentional stuff.
Sure.
I mean, because there's less like actual.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's
obvious that was done that way. Like clearly, they're trying to do some.
There's intent,
subtext, and blah blah blah.
Like the shot when they're at the hotel and Travis goes to like take a shower, and he's like getting ready and starts the shower, puts his stuff down. Then he sees his reflection in the mirror, and he has to collect himself and looks back at it. And the next scene is him like leaving, like him walking out. I thought that was a cool concept too, because it's like, oh shit, he probably hasn't seen himself in the past 4 years, or like remember what he looks like.
Oh, I didn't. So, that's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, he can't look at himself.
If he like lost his memory, then he might not even remember what he looks like in a mirror. So like him seeing himself for the first time might be totally different than what he thought. So like that kind of like.
He's like, I don't deserve this water, even if it's a shower. I don't deserve it.
Yeah, it's almost like he got too comfortable. Like he forgot his mission. Like when he was just walking to Paris, Texas, and he sees himself in the mirror, and he's like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I can't be resting. I have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
He's like looking at his like face that's all like sun beaten and hairy and stuff, and he's like, I don't know what's gonna happen if I pull this big sweaty hog out. It's gonna be rancid down there. I can't take this out right now.
Jesus Christ.
That's what he couldn't face.
Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe that ties into the scene when she finally sees his face, and like that. Only when it's like a two-way mirror is he like able to. I don't know. I guess it's further along in the movie, but if we're following like the mirror thing, like he sees himself in the mirror and he just. When it's just him in the mirror, he can't stand it. But then, like, he sees her in the mirror, and their faces become one. I don't know.
And then you notice, as soon as that happens, after that, it might cut back to his side a little bit. And, I mean, it does the opposite. Like, when it's from his side, it'll cut to her side of the room. But, like, once there's that mirror reflection face thing, the scene is, at least mostly from then on, her side, it's a reverse of everything before it, and she even does like the same thing where she takes the talk box and sits down and like to make it a little more obvious, like faces away from him and stuff.
They both are facing away from each other when they talk to each other, because they can't
face
literally
each other.
face each other.
They can't face themselves, almost saying the things that they want to say to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been in that kind of state where it's like I need to say something, but I can't do it while I'm like looking at the person because I'm too like.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, cowardly is not the right word, but it's just like you can't do it. Like
right,
it's shame. It's shame.
It's shame, or it's vulnerability. You're just not comfortable
Yeah.
being vulnerable, or
Yeah.
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 Um,
That's time, by the way.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
but
a
I'm
good-
gonna
that's
go
a
a
good
little
ender right
overtime to go back into that phone conversation a little bit and fight back against what that is one scene that like I don't think needs to be cut at all.
No.
You
No.
said that like it was too long and they're just talking. Like if all you're getting from that scene is just like information dump and like plot synopsis or whatever, I just like I think there's so much more to get out of that scene. Like it's the cathartic release of like the entire buildup of Harry Dean's character, and like like what draws you in just on a surface level is the performances. Again,
Right.
Harry Dean Stanton is fucking awesome the entire movie, and that scene is like the scene.
Yeah.
And then even Jane actress, sorry, it's something European, Natasha something.
Yeah.
She is also
Natasha
Kinski, that's right. She's also like really good. Like all the like cutaways to her and her like reacting, like she doesn't say anything for the bulk of the scene, but just you see her like the realization,
Yeah.
and like her kind of coming to terms, and then the shot composition. I don't fully understand what the whole like, you know, how I said like it goes to her side of the scene after he does his thing. I don't fully understand it. That's something that I would need to dive into the wiki on. And also, yeah, the coloring and the costuming I think is very key too. Like I feel like her pink dress the first time might have something, you know, and
Yeah.
then that's also kind of why I give a little more like a pass to like the suit that he's wearing at the beginning, because the whole movie is very like costumed, like it's very the like performances and the story is really authentic, but like you guys said, like the shot composition is very structured and the costumes are very deliberate, and maybe not every single thing, but I don't know.
And here's another thing that like in the Peep Show when he's looking at her, I agree with you that whole scene, that is like it's the most like play like part of the movie. Like I could see that being up us on stage. Like it's very
absolutely.
like 12 Angry Men vibes where it's just performance only. You don't care about any of the other stuff that's going on. It's just the performance that's driving the entire thing. But Harry Dean Stanton, from his perspective, he looks through and he sees this like cute little coffee shop setting, and then she comes in
Yeah.
and it's all like, oh, perfect little, you know, like your perfect scene. And then from her perspective, it's like this really harsh light, and he can only be seen when he like makes an effort, and then the wall is just this like completely, it's under construction. I mean, they didn't need to finish
You
it.
see the insulation foam and shit.
Yeah, you see the
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
of the walls. It's like exposed and it's not pretty. And
I noticed that, yeah, when you first see from her side, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And like that was, I think that's like what you're
And
supposed to kind of feel like, oh.
it makes sense for the business too, because it's like, why would they need to finish that wall? Because like nobody
Yeah.
sees that except for the performers. So like,
Right.
Yeah.
but yeah,
I think I was just mad at the dialogue in those
no,
scenes.
Travis said that's time.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
no, go ahead.
we're gonna cut 5 minutes from this scene because it should,
No,
Finish
go
your
ahead.
thought,
Go
Dagan.
ahead.
Finish your thought.
I wasn't serious.
I forgot where I was going with it anyways.
The dialogue, you said you were mad at the
Yeah.
dialogue in that scene.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because she didn't get naked. He stopped her from getting naked.
Oh,
The whole
hey,
time.
there it
Oh
is.
yeah,
fair
because she was
point.
like,
Yeah, fair
"Oh,
point,
can I
yeah.
take my sweater off?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so then every
great.
Yeah.
every scene after that in that room, I was like, well, there's no point to this anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Okay. All right, I concede.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Now that you put it that way.
and I was gonna kind of bring this up in my post chat, but well, different. I'll bring that up later. She is in a movie. It's quote unquote an erotic thriller called Cat People. Theme song done by David Bowie.
I know that movie.
Yeah,
She's like the main person, isn't she?
yeah.
I knew I fucking recognized her name.
So
Yeah,
there
I
you
know
go.
that movie.
Watch Cat People.
I'm on it.
Okay. Who wants to start off the reviews? Nick, Travis, me.
I think did
no,
I
I'm
do it
kidding.
last? I don't know. It doesn't
God
matter.
damn it, TJ! Why are you such an asshole today?
Am I like especially? I feel like I'm normal levels of asshole.
You're just picking on me because you know I didn't like this movie as much as you did.
I can go first.
It's just,
I'll go first.
I think it's easier to pick on you then, so you're probably. No, I don't know.
Oh,
You're
Kathy,
easy
it's a
target.
Paul Schrader movie. Crazy.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I don't like. While I was watching this movie, I was like, man, like it's keeping my attention. They're saying all the stuff that I want to say. Hey, Dean Stockwell, cool, awesome.
Travis just likes this movie
Yeah.
because the main guy's name is Travis, and they say all the things that he's thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. But I don't know. It kind of has similar vibes of like almost like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, except better throughout the beginning part. It's not like it's like slow, but it's not
I
like
kind of get what you mean.
a struggle. And then it's like the last part of the movie is like, even if you do think it's a little slow at the beginning, the end like 45 minutes or whatever
Justifies
is
it.
completely worth it. It's like you have to pay the tax of the first hour 45 to get the return of the last 45 minutes. And yeah, the scene with the mom and the son, that felt so like real. It seemed like and it was like almost in slow-mo. It felt like an action movie. Like I was like, my eyes were going like back and forth from him to her, him to her, him to her, and I was trying to catch every little like subtle, and how he like comes up and he like parts his hair and he like slowly goes to her, and you can see this like, it's like he barely hesitates. It's slow, but he like comes up to her slowly and he doesn't really hesitate. He just like hugs her, and you can see this just like wash of like shame and embarrassment go over her face. Like, I ran from this and he's like forgiven me. Like he doesn't care. He just wants me to be. Just all of these conflicted emotions just like wash over her. You can see it on her face. I thought it was like incredible. And then Harry Dean Stanton like basically rides off into the sunset. Yeah. And it was funny too, because like when the hug scene was going down, Kelly was like, I'm having a really hard time not sobbing right now. Like I could tell, like if it was like if she let like one tear fall, she was just gonna like, you know, that
Break.
kind of thing. You're just gonna break. And I was kind of in the same, not like I wasn't gonna sob, but I was like, oh man, it could come here. I could come. I really struggled with. I'm glad I didn't watch this like today or last night. I watched it Thursday night, I think, because I really needed to let this one sit, and I've really been struggling between two numbers. I think I'm gonna give it a 10.
Nice.
It's.
I already wrote that down. I'm trying to like guess everybody's ahead of time.
Oh, you wrote a 10 for me?
I did. Yeah.
I was
Nice.
really between a 9 and a 10. I was like, man, it's like I don't really know if I'd watch it again. I'd definitely watch the last like 45 minutes again, like over and over and over again. But the whole investment of 2.5 hours, I'm not
Right.
sure. But
yeah.
Definitely could
Yeah.
have cut some stuff, make it shorter.
I think I guess I'll go next. I think. Yeah, I agree. Like, I do want to watch it again. I think I will watch it again, but I don't think I need to watch. Like, I want to sit on it not just because of like the time investment, but also I kind of feel like that's what I should do. I feel like a rewatch should be after a while. But
yeah,
I really would like to watch this one again. Yeah, Harry Dean Stanton is a fucking treasure. I didn't realize until I watched this, but I really like that guy's smile. I think he's got a really nice smile. And he's I watched a couple like things, like interviews with him, and also David Lynch, because there's a few of like him and David Lynch together, and David Lynch described him as an innocent, and I really like that description. And basically what David was saying is that like he's like every performance he does, he's just being like himself, and it makes him like really authentic, which is a word that we all used a lot for the whole movie. I got for my birthday, I got this big poster that it's a filmography thing. It's got 1,500 movies on it. I just finished it a couple days ago, because I couldn't work on it for a month or so because of my hand. So I just finished it, and actually, like the very last section I did, no shit, had Paris, Texas on it, and it was like I was like, okay, I'm gonna like watch this tonight, perfect. And there's like 3 wedges. 1 is if you've seen it. 2 is if you liked it. 3 is if you loved it. I filled in all 3. I'm gonna go with a 9 out of 10 for this one. It's fucking fantastic. I honestly I feel like it could go up to a 10 on a rewatch. But it might stay at a 9, and that's fine, because maybe I'll drink some wine and have a good time, and someone else go.
Okay, I'll go with that one. Yeah, I also, because we watched it Friday night, and I think letting it sit and also discussing it more has kind of helped me figure out how I feel about it. Because I think going into it, like I said earlier, I was going into it with this preconception, and this is the problem. I gotta not be on like film Twitter or see other people talk about movies, because it's like I think I went into it with this like expectation of it being like this extremely profound and depressing, heartbreaking work, and it wasn't really that, and it was much more somber and contemplative than I thought it was gonna be. Which I think it was a little jarring for me, because I was going in with this expectation and it came out a different way. But I think it came out in a way that I'm glad that it was what it was. Yeah, like you said, Harry Dean is amazing. I only really knew him from like collaborations with David Lynch, from like Fire Walk with Me and like the Twin Peaks revival. And I loved him in that. I've loved him in Alien. I think he's like one of the great character actors. Like him, like M. Emmett Walsh, like those types of guys. I adore anything that like, oh shit, there's Harry Dean Stanton. Oh, there's M. Emmett Walsh. Like whenever he's in a movie, I feel like the movie is elevated by him just being there and being like whatever character he is. So seeing him getting a leading role and then crushing it the way that he does in this movie was like very nice to see him finally get his time in the spotlight. Same with like Dean Stockwell. The only really thing I've seen Dean Stockwell in is like Blue Velvet. I haven't seen a lot of other things with Dean Stockwell, but like
Quantum Leap.
Oh, okay. But he was really good in this too. All the performances I thought were fantastic. Even the kid. It felt very authentic and real. And yeah, it wasn't one of those movies that I, was sobbing by the end of, but it definitely pulled at the heartstrings in a very visual way. Especially the scene with him walking home with his son, like on the opposite side of the sidewalk, that really hit me. And then the phone calls at the end were also, very, very hard hitting. I think on a rewatch, I think I might enjoy it more on a second time, now that I kind of know what's going on, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and look for stuff. I'm gonna try and like look for like those color cues and look for like other visual things that might inform the story. But I think on a first view, I think I'm gonna go with an 8. I thought it was pretty great.
Okay.
And like the reason it's not a 10 is because of my preconception of what I thought it was going to be, and then
I wonder, because I kind of fall in line with you with, like, I also thought, I didn't know much about the movie, but I also thought it was just going to be a downer the whole time. I thought, like, I didn't expect it to be so, like, funny at the same time, but, like, how it, like, mixes the genres. But that's kind of, like, I've learned, like, my favorite kind of movie is one that, like, effectively mixes, like, comedy and drama and stuff really well. And you know, a lot of like foreign directors are able to do that really well. And yeah, I meant to touch on that in my thing too, that like I don't think I felt like I was gonna cry at the end. Like there wasn't anything like that, but it did really hit me. Like the ending was very good, and like yeah, but I don't think like, I don't know if tears were like the right emotion. I don't know. But it was good. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Dakin.
No, I mean, there's a lot of good things about this movie, and like the cinematography and the scenery is fucking awesome. The performances were really good. Like I think obviously that's what carried the movie, is just the character development and performances. Relationships between characters was really well set up. But I don't know, it just how Travis was saying, you got to pay the tax to really get the full bang from the last like 45 minutes. I do agree with that. It's like the build up and the emotions in the last like little bit of it aren't as impactful if this movie was shorter, if there wasn't the conversations between Hunter and his dad about just, you know, when Hunter's filling him in about stuff and how the universe is created, and you know, the little moments of emotions wouldn't have been as meaningful if it weren't for just like the 2 hours of build up. But even with that, the 2 hours of relationship building, it was a good ending, good payoff, was emotional, but it just didn't hit me the way it hit you guys for some reason. And I was like, yeah, that's a good story, a cool wrap up, you know, awesome. But it, like, I didn't know anything going into this, and it was still felt like kind of underwhelming in a sense, I guess, for me. But just the acting and cinematography itself was good enough, but I don't know, I felt bored throughout most of the movie, and even when the big payoff came, I was still like, okay, yeah, that was nice. I'm gonna give this a 5.
Okay, I was off by 1 with that one.
What do you think I was gonna give it?
I 6.
Over under. Oh, okay.
Okay. Speaking of taking a 5, let's take a break.
Oh shit, I'm supposed to say stuff, aren't I? Welcome to There Will Be Trav, where we talk about all the good Travises in movies, like this one. There's really no good Dagans in any movie that I can think of. Let's do some research. Let's search that. Let's just type that into Ask Jeeves here real quick. Dagan. Well, no, let's do characters named Dagan in movies. Oh, okay. Bobby Dagan, Dagen, is a fictional character from the Saw franchise. That sucks. He's in Saw 3D. Oh, obviously. Yeah.
Are you talking to yourself?
Nope.
Okay, so we're back, and since I didn't talk about it during the main movie discussion, I just wanted to mention a movie that we talked a little bit about before the show started. It's Harry Dean Stanton's last movie, I think, or like one. It might have been one of those things where like maybe some other movie came out that he shot before, but it's called Lucky, and it's another one where he's like the main character. He plays like he was like 90 years old when this came out, or when this was shot, and the movie came out right before or right after he died. And it's basically about like this atheist dude who never married, never had any kids, who's just like kind of facing oblivion, and like the movie starts and he like goes to the doctor and he's like, oh yeah, I feel like, you know, I feel weak and blah blah blah, and he's like I got cancer, don't I? Or he's like I'm dying, and he's like, and the doctor's like, he's like, you're just old, like he's like, you're actually very healthy for your age. You're just an old person, and that's just, he's kind of like, that's just how it is for you now. And like the whole movie is just basically him just kind of like going about his day for a few days, and I thought of it like because it's another lead role for Harry Dean Stanton, but also it's a very like contemplative movie, kind of in the sense of Paris, Texas, where it's just kind of a thinker. It's not really much happens. There's not much of a plot. It's not, well, I guess I don't want to say the ending, but it's maybe not quite what you would expect, I guess, but it's still not much of like an ending, I guess. And it also kind of like mixes the like comedy with that serious stuff really well. And I'm pretty sure it's a tight 90. So there you go, Dagan. Maybe that one will do it for you more than Paris, Texas, because I'm pretty sure it's like it's short.
It's actually the sequel to Paris, Texas.
Yeah. You know what? I had that thought when this finished. I was like, that's what happened to him. Yeah.
This is he changed his name and he lives in the desert now.
And then
but
another,
it's directed by John Carroll Lynch, which is that his directorial debut?
I think so. I'm not totally sure. That's Arthur Lee Allen from Zodiac. And he's in Fargo too. He's Francis McDormand. But I mean, I always think of him from Zodiac, obviously.
Yeah.
And the other reason it's worth noting is because, and the reason that I like it first, well, I mean, like I think I was interested in it, but then the thing that kind of like tipped me in its favor, David Lynch is in it. He didn't
see that.
He didn't have any part like behind the scenes, but he plays like just one of Lucky's, that's Harry Dean Stanton's character's nickname. He plays like one of his friends, and it's just so funny because this movie is so like normal, and then he goes to the bar and David Lynch is there in like this white like full suit, like a white flat brimmed hat, and he's like he like goes on like this long story about how his tortoise named President Roosevelt escaped, and everybody's like, how did your tortoise escape? And he's only in like 2 or 3 scenes, but it's all about like every scene with him is like about his tortoise and stuff.
That's so good.
But even that, like as silly as it is, kind of like ends up kind of tying into the whole thesis, or like I guess point of the movie. Again, it's a very light like point, I guess. It's a serious like topic, I guess, but also it's more just like, you know, this is kind of what we're saying, take it or leave it. But it's nice, and even at 90 years old, Harry Dean Stanton's a pretty good actor to watch.
Well, I was looking up Harry Dean Stanton videos last night after, I don't know, I finished the movie and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go down the rabbit hole and like watch videos of this dude. And I think I watched the same one that you were talking about, like that David Lynch, Harry Dean Stanton one. Is it the one where like they're inside his house sitting on the couch together? Yeah. There's probably
it's
a
like
couple of them.
Black and white, I think.
Yeah. But then the other one I watched, like Harry Dean Stanton is a musician as well. And like there was a video of him, I think it was like a Harry Nilsson song, but it was him, Chris Christopherson, and Johnny Depp on stage together. And I think it was for like Harry Dean's like 90th birthday. And he was like playing the harmonica and he like sang a song with him, and like Johnny Depp's playing, and he comes out and he's like, hey, do you remember me? And like Harry Dean Stanton's like, he's so old, but he's just like, yeah, you're Johnny Depp. And he's like, Rango. Anyone here know Johnny Depp? He still had a sense of humor. But then, oh man, it's like one of those things where like you watch something after you know that the actor has died and it just adds more resonance to it. But I watched the scene of him from Twin Peaks: The Return when he's like sitting outside the motel playing the guitar and like singing a song. And like same with like watching anything with the log lady in that season. Yeah. It's just like it hits you so much harder knowing that like that was like one of the last things that he did was Twin Peaks: The Return. And like he was so good in it.
Yeah, you definitely get that with Lucky too, especially since the whole movie is just about like mortality.
Yeah.
And that. He does sing in that too. He sings a
Yeah.
Volver. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like a Spanish traditional song or something.
I think he did something with Debbie Harry. From God, what
Blondie.
is she from? Yeah,
Blondie.
yeah. I think he did like a song with her. He was like in a music video or something like that. Yeah, I Want That Man, a 1989 song recorded by Deborah Harry. Oh, that song starts with the line "I want to dance with Harry Dean."
That's funny.
Like there's a few songs that like reference him,
That's cool.
which is funny. Yeah.
Okay, Travis, you want to do your thing?
Yeah, I can't remember what movie made me think of this, but I want to go back. I don't know if we could do it for this show, but I want to go back to like the oldest DVD that I can find that has trailers on it, and basically from the trailers, like depending on what trailer's on it, that's what you have to pick between those. That's the next movie that you watch. And then from that movie you have to pick from those trailers and go until it runs out, and you can call it trailers because it's like it's the next movie, it's the trailing movie, and you just like or something that Kelly and I have done for a while is that if we watch a movie, we try to connect it to the next movie with an actor or a director or something.
Oh, I kind of like that.
There's usually it's not as hard as you would think. It can be like a little bit part or something, but
does it have to be like a person that was in both of them, or could it be like like Rango and Paris, Texas are both like westerns with the
No, we try to do like the same part, like
okay,
but it doesn't have to be the exact like.
Wait,
like
Harry Dean
Natasha
Stanton's
is-
in. He's
he
in
is
Rango.
in Rango.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
So we
It's-
kind of did that.
yeah. And then next time we could watch Cat People, and then Cat People has the theme song, one of the best theme songs of any movie of all like ever, by David Bowie. And then we could watch like Labyrinth or
Inglourious Bastards,
Prestige.
because that has cat people in it too.
Oh yeah,
The Inglourious
Yeah.
Bastards uses the
that's
song.
true. That's true.
That is true. We could also go the Dean Stockwell route, and we could watch Blue Velvet, and then we could watch a James Caan movie or a Kyle MacLachlan movie. It's
Quantum Leap,
Quantum
Yeah.
Leap, yeah.
and then we could go to Cats Don't Dance.
This sounds like an idea for a podcast, guys.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Like, have a different podcast called Trailers, and you just like, I don't
It's
know.
the same exact format. It's just a different manner of.
Some of
just
them,
picking movies. Yeah.
some of them are like, some DVDs only have like one or two trailers, so it'd be really slim pickings, and you'd
Risky.
have to like pick one, and then like you just see kind of like a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon type thing, but
But with
just
everybody.
yeah,
That would be
and with
interest-
trailers.
That'd be
Or the
interesting
people
because most of these, like, I don't know, I would think like early DVDs. I just think of our earliest ones. So like The Matrix, I know is like your first DVD. It's probably got like shitty dumb action movies that nobody
Right.
remembers, but it's like,
Right.
it's kind of funny 'cause, like, nobody else is probably reviewing those because nobody remembers them. So.
I wonder what like like the threads of like eventually you would pick an action movie, and then like everything after that would like go harder and harder into like action, and like I it would be interesting to see like where it like splits and where stuff ends up. Like you start with like Hell's Angels from like 33 or whatever it is.
Oh, you're
if it
saying
had-
okay. I see.
You
what you're
start
saying.
as far back as you can.
I thought you meant like when the DVDs were printed or whatever.
Oh no!
Because,
Just,
like-
find the oldest movie. Well, it would have to be a movie. Yeah, movie. Like you couldn't have. Probably Hell's Angels wouldn't work because it might have like trailers for Matrix
That's-
Revolutions or something.
Because
That's
it's
what
like
I
a
mean, yeah.
WB movie. So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a way to like trace through time a little bit. Like it would have to go. Yeah.
That's why I think you'd maybe have to go by the printing of the DVD, because then that'll have at least in chronological order in that way. Whereas like, yeah, I think my oldest movie on DVD is, Well, a lot of those really old ones, like my oldest one is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is from like 1925, I think. And I don't think it has any trailers on it, even though it's an older DVD. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd have to go through my movies because I don't know, because last year I kind of updated my collection. So, like, I bought Blu-rays of movies that I already owned, and then, like, I kind of got rid of the DVDs of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have some of those.
Oh.
God, a secondhand corner. I went and would spend. I filled out so many of those punch cards down there. I would just like buy 12 to get one free or whatever. But like, yeah, I have so many old movies. Like the DVDs that have like they're like cardboard and they have that little plastic clip that you like open them up. I have a ton of those.
That's what The Matrix is.
Yeah, that's how my
Oh,
Matrix
yeah.
one is.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like that idea.
So
This
two
is the
different
end
ideas
of-
for podcasts, either trailers or 6 degrees of whatever
When-
movie you're watching.
When we start making enough money off of this, we're like, we don't need jobs, and we. Oh yeah, Animatrix too.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And we don't. We don't need to like have actual jobs, and we can just like have 20 different podcasts. We can do that, and then we can have
Okay.
one about like manners and.
And just good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just good stuff in general.
Are we ready for this then?
Oh
think-
yeah. That's
I
right.
don't. I have no idea what our time is at, but it's probably up.
We're at an hour. I'm at an hour 50. But there's a fair amount that
OBS
can
says
be
2
trimmed, I'm
hours,
sure.
but yeah, there's some trimmings.
Well, I guess I'll go with that one that just fell out. Might as well.
It is cat people.
Yeah. What this is 2 cup pulls in a row.
I know. I'm excited.
Or, I mean, technically 3. If I always think of the bad cup as a separate thing, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, this will be interesting. It's a David Cronenberg movie from 1979. I think his first feature, or I think like his first like thing that wasn't like a student thing. It's called The Brood, and I believe this one is also on HBO.
The Brood. Interesting.
The Brood.
Okay.
I don't
yeah.
I don't know much about it other than I'm pretty sure it's a body horror, which is what he is kind of
that's
known
his
for.
thing.
And I think that's why I put it on, because I love David Cronenberg, and I've never seen this one. It's like his Barking Dogs, I guess, but I don't think there's animal abuse. Well, I guess who knows? There could be anything in one of his movies.
Yeah, the only Cronenbergs I've seen are The Fly, which was a while ago, and I saw Videodrome.
Have you ever seen his more recent stuff, like History of Violence or
I have
Eastern Promises?
I saw A History of Violence also a long time ago, but I
Yeah.
have seen that one.
Those are both good.
I have Crash on Criterion, but I heard that movie is rough to get through.
It's weird.
I know it's like
I'm not a
very.
big fan of it.
I don't know if it got NC-17 or what, but I know it's just like it's like people who like get turned on by car crashes or something like that,
Yeah.
and it's like
It feels like
lot
it feels like a Chuck Palahniuk book.
Oh, okay.
It's like edgy and da da da. And I
Yeah.
mean, David Cronenberg kind of is like an edgy director,
Yeah.
anyways, but less cringy edgy than Chuck Palahniuk can be, I guess. But yeah, we'll see.
I
This
didn't
is
know Nicolas
exciting.
Cage was in it.
in
And Emma Stone.
in which
this
one are you
movie.
talking about?
What?
The Croods.
Okay. Hey, guess what? The Brood is a tight 90 too, so there we
Nice.
go.
Oh yeah.
I
Shit,
think The Croods
yeah.
is too.
That's always a good thing. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like these like early like 80s directors, like this could be, I think like some people consider it a classic, but it could just be because it's a very like well renowned director. It could be a
Yeah.
piece of shit. I don't know.
I'm excited to find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I never even heard of this, so
Okay.
stoked.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled for The Brood, make sure to watch it before the next episode. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on streaming the videos on Twitch and YouTube and in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. Again, you can watch The Brood on HBO Max. That's what I'll be watching it on. You take over the social stuff, I guess. It looked like you were going into that.
Oh, I was enthusiastically
just
nodding along. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, leave us reviews, leave us ratings on iTunes. Sorry, I keep saying iTunes. It's Apple Podcasts now. Sorry, they're different. And Spotify. Follow us on YouTube, because I think we're at 11 again. So someone heard our episode where I complained that we lost one, and I think someone refollowed or someone, because we're back up to 11 now. But
We're
yeah,
gonna lose them again with Rango Unchained.
yeah, probably. whatever that conversation made it to air.
Yeah. All right. So for the sign off, I'm really bad at, like, the last few. I've just completely forgotten that we do these at the end of the episodes. It's like slipped out of my memory. I am. I don't know. I don't know who I am, because I have amnesia, and I just wandered out of the desert, and
There you go.
that's it. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, I am your tasteful side boob surrogate mother that only wants the best for you. So please call me Nick, aka Dr. Funk, on Twitch, and with me as always,
I am Harry Dean Stanton, 4 years in the desert, big sweaty hog. Travis, aka the Super General.
As always, I am your poolside nurse, aka Diggs.
Nice.
bye.
Bye.
That was really abrupt.